Hey everyone! In this tutorial, we're going to animate a heart rotating in 3D. We only need a single image. You can download it, along with the spine file, from the link below. Let's get started. The first step is to create a bone that will control our heart. Select the root bone, then click the Create button. Hold the Control key and left-click on the heart to assign it to the new bone, just like this. Next, we'll create a mesh. The mesh will allow us to control the edges of the gem. We will adjust the bones, deform them, and this way we'll create the illusion of a 3D rotation. To create the mesh, go to Image, Mesh, Edit, and create a new one. An important detail here is to carefully outline the existing edges of the heart without leaving any empty pixels. If there are gaps, they can cause flickering or unwanted empty spaces in the animation. So don't do it like this, it won't work. Instead, make sure every edge is properly outlined for a clean result. Once this step is complete, we can define the center of our heart. To do this, hold the mouse button and drag it to the final point, like this, following the edges already drawn by the artist. If you need to move a vertex, simply select it, click the Modify button, and adjust its position as needed. Once that's done, the next step is to create the bones that will control the heart. We'll need 3 bones in total. First, we'll create a bone that controls the heart's outline. This will be the center when the heart is viewed from the side. The second bone will control the front, smaller heart. If we break the heart gem down into simple parts, we can think of it as 3 sections: the small heart at the front, the middle, and another small heart at the back. For that back section, we'll need a third bone. Let's properly name our assets. For example, this slot represents the left side of the heart. We duplicate it, and now we have the right side as well. The main bone can be named accordingly, and we'll also name the bones that control the left and right sides. Perfect. Now we can bind the mesh. First, select the left side of the heart's mesh and bind it to the main and left bones. Then, distribute the weights so that the main bone controls the middle, while the left bone controls the outline. Next, select the outline and assign 100% influence to the main bone. Let's check the result. For now, we can turn off the right side. As you can see, we can now control the left side. In the animation, we'll rotate the heart like this, shifting it to the side. We'll also scale this bone while keeping it in place. This creates the illusion that the heart is deforming and rotating toward us. Now that this part is done, let's turn off the left side, turn on the right one, and bind it to the main and right bones. Then we'll distribute the vertices again, select the outline, and assign 100% influence. Done! Now we're ready to move on to the animation. The only thing left is to make it easier to distinguish the left and right sides while animating. To do this, we can color one side differently, for example, making one side red. This way, we'll clearly see that the left side is pink and the right side is red while working on it. Let's switch to animation mode. Now, we need to create a new animation. Click New, name it whatever you like, for example, Heart, and set the first keyframes. We'll be working with the left bone, right bone, and main bone. Set keyframes for Translate and Scale, then duplicate them at frame 20, where we'll make adjustments. At frame 20, we can see that the red heart is positioned on top. To create the illusion of rotation, we'll adjust the right bone. First, we scale it down and shift it to the side. This already gives a slight impression of rotation. To complete the effect, we set the scale to 0 and move it outward slightly. Next, we adjust the main bone by setting its position to 0. We do the same for the left bone, but this time we move it to the right and also set its position to 0. Now let's check the animation. You can already see the heart starting to rotate. At this point, both hearts are side by side. The next step is making the pink heart move to the front, which means it needs to be higher in the hierarchy than the red heart. If we look at the slot hierarchy in the first frame, the pink heart is below the red one. We set a keyframe here to keep the red heart on top. Then at the point where the two hearts switch positions, we move the pink heart to the top, the red one to the bottom, set the keyframe, and continue the animation with the pink heart rotating toward us. At frame 40, we adjust the bones again. The left bone should now have the same position as in the first frame. The scale should be 1, but since the heart has flipped, we set it to -1 instead. We repeat the same process for the red heart, duplicating the first frame's keyframes but changing the scale to -1 instead of 1. Finally, for the main bone, which had a scale of 0 in the previous frame, we now set it to -1. Let's check how the animation is progressing. Now the draw order has changed, and the pink heart is in front. We move to frame 60 and repeat the same process, but this time focusing on the left heart. The left heart moves here, and we apply the same adjustments. We set its scale to 0 and shift it about this far. Then we take the right heart, move it, and also set its scale to 0. The main bone is set to 0 as well. Now the pink heart is in front again, and both hearts are side by side. Next, we need to bring the red heart forward. We set a keyframe here to move the red heart to the front, then continue animating the pink heart's rotation. To maintain consistency, we duplicate the keys and place them in the timeline. Let's check the animation. Everything is rotating smoothly. And with just 3 bones, we've successfully animated the heart. It's working well. However, we notice one issue. The mesh breaks, creating artifacts. We can fix this by cutting the mesh to control which layers appear on top and which are underneath. We didn't make these cuts earlier before setting up the animation because I find it easier to manage this way. By doing it now, we can precisely control all the intersection points without leaving any gaps. Now we need to separate the heart and ensure that specific edges appear on top at the right moments. At certain points, one edge will need to cover other layers, while at other times a different edge must be in front. We need to control them separately. Next, we'll adjust the top edge since, at some point, it will need to cover both sections. At certain moments, we'll need to move it up or down in the draw order. To make cutting easier, I'll add an extra edge here. This gives us 7 parts in total. Now we duplicate them, creating 7 copies. We select this mesh, delete the unnecessary parts, and keep only the central heart. The slot labeled Heart L2 will contain just this piece. We repeat this process for the entire heart. I'll speed up the video a bit. Feel free to pause and continue once you've completed this step. Perfect. As a result, we have this great setup, exactly what we need. Now we do the same for the right, red side and create 7 duplicates. We can turn off all the left pink parts for now. Since we're focusing on the red ones, we turn them on. A crucial detail. We use the exact same naming for the parts, just for the red heart. We select and delete the unnecessary parts. Done. This heart now has the same set of parts as the previous one, with the exact same convenient naming. Now, we can move on to the animation and adjust the draw order. In the first frame, we see that the red heart is in front. It will move toward us with this front edge, which should be the highest in the draw order, so we place it at the top. It should remain on the top layer until the last moment. Next, we position this part so that it overlaps the others. Then we place this piece as the third layer, followed by this one, then this one, and finally this last piece. Let's check it. Now there are no visual artifacts. Everything looks perfect. Until the final frame, this part remains properly layered. Now let's enable the pink parts as well and work with both pink and red at the same time. As the red heart rotates, the pink heart starts to appear. It should be on top immediately, just like we set up before. The left side of the pink heart is already at the top. On the right side, all pieces are at the bottom, while on the left side, they are on top. Here it's the opposite. All right side pieces are on top, and all left side pieces are at the bottom. Our goal in this frame is to set the keyframe so that this edge of the pink heart remains on top, covering the other parts for now. We can see that this is the fifth piece, exactly the same as before. So our task is to replicate the hierarchy. First, the fifth piece, then the unnumbered one, followed by the sixth, seventh, second, third, and fourth. This mirrors the previous structure exactly. Now that we've set it up, we can duplicate this keyframe and simply swap positions where needed. Done. Let's check. Everything looks correct. At frame 40, we need to adjust the hierarchy so that this side of the pink heart moves to the front. Looking ahead, we can see that this edge of the pink heart must fully cover everything behind it. So here we move the fourth edge of the pink heart to the top. The fifth piece, which was previously on top, will now be hidden. So we move it to the bottom. Next, we position the middle part as it forms the heart's center. Then we arrange the third piece, followed by the second, the unnumbered one, and finally, the seventh at the top. Let's set this keyframe at frame 40 and check. Yes, everything works perfectly. Now, this edge of the pink heart is on top. We repeat the same process for the red heart. At this frame, the fourth edge of the red heart should also come to the front. So we return here, copy the draw order, move the fourth piece of the red heart to the top, and shift the fifth one to the bottom. Then we arrange the third, second, seventh, and sixth pieces in order. We duplicate this setup and swap positions where needed. Let's check. By the final frame, the heart rotates smoothly. The animation is now clean and perfect. Now the heart spins seamlessly. The only thing left is to remove the color modifications we used for convenience. You can also add some glow effects to enhance the animation. If we switch to setup mode, we can easily explore modifications to further refine the animation, such as moving the heart around the scene. This won't affect the animation we've already completed. Using just 3 bones, you can make some adjustments, like adding highlights to areas where the heart catches the light. Overall, our main task, rotating the gem heart in 3D, has been successfully accomplished. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay updated on new animation tips.